Moving on with Energy Matters. Regular guests on our program from the Energy and Environmental Research Center to clue us in on the latest technology and what's happening. Chad Wocken is a principal engineer there. And we're going to talk a little bit about, he's also, by the way, the Transformational Energy Group lead. Transformational energy. What is it? Define transformational energy, Chad, for us.
We're looking for ways to do things better, to do more with less. So transformational energy means just finding ways to be innovative and creative and do things that we haven't been able to do in the past, economically and with less environmental footprint.
What would be the last example of super success in the transformational energy space?
Well, I think the report that we're just finishing up now, looking at alternative uses for lignite, is a good example of that. We obviously have a vast resource of lignite coal in North Dakota, and the purpose of this study was really to try and look at what other things could we do with it. And so whether it's taking lignite and converting it into alternative carbon-based products, or extracting rare earth elements, or soil amendments, but to do something different, something value-added with that resource would represent a transformational energy technology.
And the value-added lignite ventures that you're pursuing, so value-added corn turns into ethanol. That's value-added, right? That's an example of something that goes into, when the pasta growers build a plant so they can produce the pasta with their own durum. Well, the same thing. What's the equivalent with lignite?
Well, I think one good example would be to look at taking lignite and converting it into carbon-based products. You know, the vast majority of the coal that we mine currently, 80% of it goes towards electricity production, and we produce a lot of electricity, more than the state can use. But at current utilization rates, we could continue to mine coal for 800 years in North Dakota and not run out. So taking a look at using some of that coal resource to produce more valuable products like activated carbon for industrial or environmental cleanup type applications. Synthetic graphite is another example of a carbon-based product that's being used more and more in lithium-ion batteries. We're seeing more and more battery-powered equipment out there all the time. Our cell phones and electric vehicles, those all require graphite, and the value of graphite can be as high as $10,000 per ton, which represents a significant increase over coal used for electricity production.
Interesting. And tell us a little bit about what you do at EERC to get those products to the place where they're viable and a cash generator to make economic sense for the lignite industry.
Sure. Well, within this study, we were really just focused on looking at some what-ifs. What are the technical opportunities and challenges of a variety of different uses of coal? We worked with our colleagues at NDSU, Dean Banksand and his team, to look at some of the economics and just kind of provide a survey of what could be done with coal. Once we have that sort of information, we tend to do a variety of research and development activities. Depending on where things stand, we can do some very fundamental bench scale work to try and understand how to convert lignite into something else. We can do pilot scale type tests to look at more commercial scale applications, or we can help industries do commercial deployment and test the equipment at full scale to look at economics and understand what the impacts are when you start to do some of these things at a commercial scale.
That's interesting. And, of course, this is happening at the Energy and Environmental Research Center that does this kind of work on so many different kinds of, resources, and give us a lot of opportunities, a lot of things happening in the, enhanced oil recovery and, the storage of CO2 and as you hear on this on the lignite side as well, some value-added things. What most excites you? What do you think is what do you see as one of the ideas here that has the most promise?
Well, I certainly think that carbon-based products from coal has some promise, and then the other would be rare earth elements. And I know you spoke with my colleague Chris Zigerlicki previously on that topic, but both have a lot of potential for impacts to U.S. markets in a relatively near term.
Great to hear. Chad, anything else you want to share?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today, Scott.
You as well, Chad. Chad Wocken is Principal Engineer at Energy and Environmental Research Center, the Transformational Energy Group lead. We need folks like that thinking the way they do day in and day out, getting ahead of the curve for the future. It makes great sense, just like the Value Added Lignite Ventures does as well. Glad they're studying it.